What's up, YouTube? Today I'm sharing with you 5 points of why or why not to start a real estate team. If you are a top agent looking to delegate or leverage your current business, this video is specifically for you because one of the biggest questions that I get from agents is, does it make sense right now to start a real estate team? So point number one, and this is first and foremost, is literally if you build it, they will come. There's this mentality of agents getting started and literally just starting to hire agents thinking that the more agents they bring on, that the business is gonna follow it. That is not true. That is an absolute misbelief about starting a real estate team because there's a lot of things that we can talk about here in a second, profitability, cost, expenses, to where it doesn't make sense to just start hiring agents thinking that business is gonna come with those agents. First and foremost, you actually have to build your business to where you have a reputation, you have rapport, and first and foremost, you have a pipeline of business that you can actually share with all of those agents, because the lifeblood of any sales industry, especially real estate, is sales. And if there's no sales, there's no business. And if there's no business, there is no team. Number two, so the second point of why or why not building a real estate team makes sense is the profitability. So you are going to hear or come across all these agents selling 600 million, 800 million, $1 billion in sales. But the first thing that you need to know about that is what are their margins and their profitability, because it's one of those things I always share with my team is if you make $1 million and you spend $1 million, what are you? You're broke. And there's so many agents that are literally spending all of this money to just hit sales. It's what we call numbers chasing, because you get trophies, you get recognition, and you actually get in the crosshairs of the rest of the industry. Whereas at the end of the day, what should really matter to you is the bank account, your take home, your profits. And especially if you're making money, it means your team's making money. So if you're not making money, you aren't going to have the profits to be able to reinvest that into your team to making more money, which at the end makes you more money. So profits is what you should be chasing and not just numbers. So the third point is where we are at today, and is it the right time in the market? So the market's changed. Typically you used to be able to walk out the front door and literally deals would fall on your lap as long as you answered your phone. That's not happening right now. As real estate professionals, sales professionals, advisors, we are really having to reevaluate what we're doing today and tomorrow, not looking at what we did in the past 3, 4, 5 years, and actually having to hunt business down. So if the market's changing, and again, you got to factor in what we talked about or are talking about, which is profit margins, the cost, the expenses. If the market's not at the right time, it might make sense just for you to handle the business you have now, continue to build your rapport, reputation in the industry and the market. And then when the market starts to change or loosen or flex a little bit, that might make sense to use that rapport that you have built to actually recruit or attract agents into your team. If the market goes up and then comes down, there's times to build market share and take market share, and then there's times to maintain. So when the market goes down, you don't want to be so susceptible to the business and the market to where your business actually falls with that. You want to maintain market share. So if, let's say, the market drops 20% and you had before a 2% stake in that market, you want to maintain 2% market as the general market goes down, and that is actually you accumulating a bigger percentage or piece of the pie. So when the market actually comes up, you should stay with that growth, and that's really where you're going to explode. And that's just being strategic in building or not growing, and then maintaining versus cutting and all that. So number 4 is, can you handle the business you have now? So this kind of goes into build it and they will come, but it's really, you should have an overflow of business. You should have so much business that you actually have to hire listing agents, buyer's agents, showing agents to handle the business or to simply pass that business off. So the one thing you have to ask yourself is, can I afford to give away 50% or 40% of the amount of money that you're making in order to build a team? Because that's where your profit margins and profitability kicks in, because as you grow, you leverage, you delegate, it costs money to do that. So can you afford to give away half of the amount of money you're making to be able to share that with the team? If the answer is no, there's your answer right there. You can't afford to basically build a real estate team right this second. So building is good. It ultimately lets you delegate, leverage your life, and this is where you can actually get what they say on the business versus in the business. If you're handling buyers, you're handling sellers, you are in the business, and you aren't able to see everything on a macro scale. You're literally in the micro, which is okay because, again, the profitability is higher in those moments. But if you really want to get to that level 7 or level 5 business you have to get on it. And that's where at some point you do have to delegate, leverage business. And those are the things that let you travel. If you want to run teams in different markets, which we'll talk about in another video, you absolutely have to have a real estate team, because again, you might make less profits by running a real estate team, but when you double your sales by being in different markets, that's where the things actually kick in. The last point of building a real estate team, and this goes for sales in this market, especially right now, is closing is your number one priority. And I said it earlier to where if there's no sales, there's no business. And if there's no business, there's no team. You have to close deals, because closing deals is what funds everything. So again, when the market was different and every agent was getting deals by simply answering their phone, the marketing was the one thing that really differentiated them from the competition. Right this second, the marketing isn't quite as important as closing deals. So the market shifted. All you need to close deals is a phone and a number, and you are going to have to get back to it, because you might have to double your input. If business gets cut in half, you therefore have to double your output to make the same amount of money that you were making before. So this all goes into factors that you need to analyze on, does it make sense to build a real estate team right now in this market with the expenses and costs that you can afford? So lastly, is we have a webinar coming up, and that's going to be www.highconversionleads.com, where we will literally deep dive into high conversion leads at low costs that are guaranteed to help you close more deals. Because again, before, when you used to be able to spend endless amounts of money, get some deals, close it, you had an easy break even that you could analyze. The market shifted. You really have to nail down on what you're spending your money on, if you're getting an ROI, what your break even expenses are. And that's what we're going to share with you, is literally high conversion, low cost lead sources to help you have consistent closings in any market. So I hope I answered your question on, does it make sense to build a real estate team? Subscribe below. We have a lot more fire content coming your way.